Hello everyone and welcome to Reentry. In this video I am going to go through the atmospheric entry lesson. This is lesson 9A of the Command Module Academy, and the lessons has been divided into 3 different lessons, where this is the first one of them. The aim of this lesson is to try and get you through the main events of an atmospheric entry through the Earth atmosphere. The main part of this lesson is to kind of cover the key events of an atmospheric entry, and then in the next lesson, that's lesson 9B, you will be challenged to try to kind of perform the same procedures but following the real checklist. And then finally, in the advanced section of the Apollo Command Module Academy, you have the lunar entry lesson. And the lunar entry lesson is very similar to lesson 9B, where you will kind of use the checklists to get through the Earth atmosphere on a trajectory from the moon. So let's get started. The Earth entry lesson, which we are currently going to go through, contains quite a lot of text, and I'm going to kind of just read through them and then cover some additional things as needed. And the main intent is to kind of just show you how I'm doing this lesson. So first of all, welcome to the atmospheric entry lesson. This is an involved lesson that covers many systems working together to bring the command module through the atmosphere. You are currently in 160 nautical miles circular orbit around the Earth. So you can go into the map view and you can see that this is my orbit. And my location is kind of just outside Australia. So during entry, the attitude of the craft is important. We need to ensure that our heat shield is facing the direction of flight, while also having a good control of roll. Roll is what we will use to control how the craft flies through the atmosphere. The first thing we will do is to perform the SPS burn in retrograde direction. Please open the mission pad and open the SPS deorbit and entry checklist. So this checklist can be found. You can see that this checklist is arranged in kind of a sequential pattern here. So you have transition and docking, and you do the entire mission up until Earth entry. And this is an Earth entry. SPS, deorbit, and entry. We will use P30 to set up the burn and P40 to perform the burn. I recommend referencing to the AGC chapter in the manual, following the steps for P30 and P40 while going through this lesson. Once the deorbit burn is complete, you will get quite busy with procedures. Earth entry is actually a very busy phase of the missions. There's a lot of things that is going on. And you don't have that much time between the deorbit burn until you hit the entry interface and the Earth atmosphere. So before we continue, please know that this lesson will go through the basic steps needed to land. This process is so involved that I think it's best to learn the major task needed first. And once again, the next lesson, lesson 9B, will take you through all of the procedures. Once you know those, you should be able to practice using the checklist and perform the more realistic procedures. But use the checklist as a reference throughout the lesson. So let's open the burn planner, and then we'll need to create an entry burn with an entry interface angle of about 2 degrees. So 2 degrees is what we'll need to aim for if we're going to get through the Earth atmosphere from Earth orbit. So let's open up the burn planner, and then it suggests that I should set the phase to 260, and then the delta V to 475 in the retrograde direction. This now detects that we have an entry flight path angle at the entry interface of -2 degrees, and this is the time of entry interface, and then this is the estimated time of when we should perform the command module service module separation. So 2:43:16. So hit request. This is the pad, and if you would like to kind of go through the entire pad setup, you can. But for now, I'm just going to keep this. You always have this in the transcript here if you need some of these data points. So let's first set up the digital event timer, the DET. You can also reference to it as just the event timer, which I'm doing in the lesson. So first, stop it, reset, it's all set to 0, and then you need to set it to 59:59, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so 59, and then do it again for the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 59, 59. And set the direction to down. And this event timer will be used to count down to the service module and command module separation. And this should happen 12 minutes, and I believe that it is actually 15 minutes. So I've changed everything in the game with the exception of this lesson, so I'm going to go ahead and update that. I had a correction from this from some of the NASP guys in the Reentry Discord server, so thanks a lot for this input. So 15 minutes before entry interface, take the time of the command module SM-SEP from the burn planner and subtract 1 hour from it, and take a note of the result. So if the time of CM-SM separations was at 2 hours 43 minutes and 7 seconds, then the event timer should start at 1 hour 43 7 seconds. So we'll get back to this soon. So let's just verify. So we had 2:43:16. So at 1:43:16, I'm going to have to start the event timer. So you can use the notes here. Start that, for example. So 1:43:16. So next, we are going to start program 30. So the burn was planned at 2:37 and 7, which is all correct, and you can always verify with the pad here, 2:37:7, and this is the delta V. So this is the delta V. This is used to set the amount of delta V burn in a vector format, allowing the burn to happen in a given direction. We wish to burn in the retrograde direction. The values are already populated by mission control after using the burn tool. You can ignore the minor differences. So we're going to hit Pro to accept these values. The computer will spend a few seconds on calculating before displaying V06non42, which we will see right now. And this shows me the apogee and perigee altitude and the magnitude of the delta V burn. Our PEs should be negative as we target the burn to bring the craft through the atmosphere. So our apogee is as it was, and then our estimated perigee will be below the Earth surface. Notice the minus here. So hit Pro to continue. So now we have verb 16 on 45. This is going to be counting down, but the maximum value is 1 hour. So we're going to wait for this to start counting down. So now hit Pro. Next, we are going to orient the spacecraft to kind of get into the burn attitude. We will use auto maneuvering to get into our attitude, but let's first align the inertial measurements unit, the IMU, the system responsible for maintaining our stable inertial platform. Since the ordeal is set to inertial, and let's just verify that, you can see that this one is off and both of them is set to inertial. So the ordeal is basically not enabled. So since the ordeal is set inertial, what we see on the FDI1, FDI2 instruments is the platform of the IMU, FDI1, and the platform of the GDC, FDI2. So we're going to use program 52 to align our platform with the burn direction. The computer knows about this platform as it was uplinked when you requested the burn. So let's go ahead and align our platform with the burn direction. So verb 37, enter 52. The program has spent some seconds loading before showing verb 04 noun 06. You can see that now. We will use program 52 option 1 to align the IMU with the preferred orientation. The preferred orientation is the one uplinked to your computer when you requested the burn. These orientations are named the reference to stable member matrix, refsmat. So let's key verb 22, enter, plus 1, enter. Then verify that R2 shows 1, and then hit Pro. When verb 06 noun 22 shows, press Pro on the DSKY to complete the alignment and torque the IMU. This will also take you back to POO. So next we will auto maneuver. So once I hit Pro here, we're going to torque this platform of the IMU to kind of align it with the direction of the burn. That's the preferred burn direction that was uplinked to the computer when we requested a burn using the burn planner. You can see that the uplink activity light would turn on. So to auto maneuver, so to do this, we will use verb 49. This will load R62, the routine used for auto maneuvering. As our IMU is aligned with the burn direction, we'll set R1, R2, and R3 to +0. So let's go ahead and do that. Verb 49, enter. And if you would like, you can always follow the checklist of this here. So you can go ahead and hit run here if you would like that. So it basically tells us to set everything to 0. So for simplicity, I'm just going to use verb 25 here, and then +0, +0, +0. And then I'm going to hit Pro. And now we have verb 50 showing, saying that, okay, we are going to auto maneuver towards this attitude. So the next thing that I'm going to do is just, for the sake of time, help this maneuver a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to auto and then hit Pro. And now you can notice that it's starting to kind of maneuver towards this attitude. I'm going to speed us up a little bit by using the direct thrusters. We're going to separate from the service module pretty soon, so I don't need to care that much about saving fuel. But realistically, you should use slow maneuvers here. And all we want to do is to kind of center the F die on 0, 0, 0 here. And once the auto maneuver is complete, verb 06 will turn into verb 50. Now it's going to try and stabilize itself within the limits of the digital autopilot parameters that has been set up. So now it detects that the maneuver is complete, verb 50 is displaying. If you want, you could just hit Pro again to just kind of fine tune this if you need it, but it still detects that we are done. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter. So as that. So next we are going to follow the P40 guidance and navigation SPS thrusting checklist to execute the burn. You could either run it or follow it manually. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the checklist for thrusting P40 guidance and navigation SPS thrusting, and I'm going to just queue this up. Okay, so let's go ahead. You just skip these initial things. And if you would like to set up the EMS for the burn, you can go ahead and hit back here and then find the Delta V setup. And then you can queue these on top of everything. Delta V set. That was for and if you would like, you can always reference the pad data in here and 475. There we go. Delta V. Now we're back into the P40 checklist. Now we are going to open up the run program 40. So P40 is now running. This will show verb 50 noun 18. Verb 50 noun 18 means request maneuver, decide FDI auto maneuver attitude. Please note that when you press Pro, the 06 will display as the maneuver is executed. So if I hit Pro, you can see that it now fine tunes and gets me into this attitude. And you can just do that. Verb 06, monitor F dice, verb 50 when the maneuver is complete. And to reference our pad again, you can see that our burn is scheduled to 2 hours, 37 minutes, and 7 seconds. So the maneuver is complete when V50 is displayed. Press Pro again when the maneuver is complete to final line. And we've done that, but I can do it again. Then press Enter when verb 50 is flashing to break the auto maneuver routine and continue with the P40 program flow. So there we have that. So next one is V50N25. You can see that it's now showing. With R1 set to 204, meaning please perform checklist item 204. And this is the gimbal test of the SBS engine. Now, let's timescale until 1 hour before the CM-SM separation that we calculated early. In my case, it was 1:43:16, and this applies to this execution as well. And then we will start the event timer. It should count down towards the SM-CM SEP. So 1:43:16. Well, it's now counting down. So this is what we're going to be referencing quite a lot during the entry preparation. And we can ignore the -10 minutes to ignition for this execution. So then it asks us to timescale again until about 20 minutes. And when you're following the real entry checklist for Earth entry, all of these things will be in one checklist. So kind of the flow will be more correct. But there's a couple of things that you'll need to realistically do in between now and those 20 minutes, like heating up the RCS, thruster, etc. But for now, let's just continue with this, the flow of this lesson. It asks us to timescale again to about 20 minutes before the planned ignition time. There we go. So let's continue with the checklist. I name this. And the RHC2 armed, this is always armed in the game. I will eventually create the arm button on this one, but for now you can just hit skip. Then starting gimbals for a gimbal, SBS gimbal motors, 1 for pitch and 1 for yaw. PHC counterclockwise, there we go. Try to give some input to the attitude control stick. You can see there's no movements. That's because motor number 2 is not on for manual thrust control. Now you can see that we have movements. Go to external view and look, but it's dark, so you won't see anything. So that's all good, and it's very important to remember to set this back to neutral as per checklist, but it's an easy step to forget, I've seen. Well, let's get back into the normal power modes. Then once we hit proceed, you will see that the gimbal test is executed, and it's automatically going through the sequence of pitching it up and down and yawing it. Once complete, it should display verb 06 noun 40. Okay. Verb 06 noun 40 now shows the time to ignition, delta V to be gained, and accumulated velocity. Continue with the checklist. When the countdown shows that it's 35 seconds left, the register will blank for 5 seconds to indicate that the burn is close. Alright, so let's timescale to 2 minutes before. Our altitude is holding. Okay. PG is also always armed, and the RHC2. The T-minus 35. The disk should blank. There we go. Return at 30. Now we are waiting for verb 99. Should happen at 5 seconds before. There we go. Oh, I took this the wrong way, but that's fine. Now we just need to multiply it. See that these balls, injector valves, SPS, PEC, the light on, valve. We should have head off pretty soon. So the engine will automatically stop when the burn is complete, and R2 should show 0 or a fraction below 0. Complete the checklist. So just depower things from the burn. PC shows 0. Goes. Arbor pole 0. Okay, checklist complete. So let's also prepare the Earth landing system now. The system responsible for releasing our chutes. Insert the 2 ELS fuses on the left-hand MDC-8 panel. Then arm the ELS logic on MDC-1. It's a protected switch. This will make the ELS ready. This lesson will prepare this now, as you will get quite busy after entry. So next we will prepare for re-entry. Next we will use program 52 again to align the IMU with the horizon at the entry interface point. The entry interface EI is a point of our trajectory where our altitude is 400,000 feet. This point marks the beginning of our atmospheric entry. First of all, let us find our entry pad form. If I now open up the crew members as it suggests, and you have the entry pad form here. Just close it for now. And then I recommend using a tablet or printer version of this form. In-game method is just a backup for those who don't have this. Let's find the time of our entry interface passing. So let's go back into this, and then you will find something called request entry pad. And since we don't have too much time, I don't recommend manually filling up this pad form right now. But the thing that we will be needing is the value for our entry interface passing. So that's 25531. 25535 is the one that I got when I created the lesson, but it might slightly deviate from this. So it doesn't really matter that much, but you can go ahead and type on this one, and you can go and fill this out in RRT. So it's 00255531. So let's go ahead and align the IMU with the local horizon at this time. So verb 37, enter, 52, enter, and this starts program 52, and then we'll wait for the option selection, verb 22, and I need to fix this typo to enter, and then we are going to use option 2 today, enter, then verify option 2, and then hit pro. So verb 06 now 34 shows. This wants us to input time stamp in mission elapsed time. It could be any time in the future, and we'll align the IMU to the estimated local, vertical, local horizon, LVLH at that time. We want to input the time of our EI passing here. So we use verb 25, enter, and then we'll need to input this here. So first of all, R1 is set to 2 hours. R2 is set to 55, and R3 is set to 31.00 seconds. Pro, and proceed again to align. Then we'll use the simplified GDC align thing. Is if you have the set to IMU, you can simply just hit GDC align, and it will automatically align itself with the IMU. You can follow the real procedures here as well if you need to, but we're already kind of getting very close to enter interface, and the time of SM separation has passed. But that's okay, it doesn't need to be exact. So next, let's set up the EMS, and we'll go ahead and set the range set. Then I'll set the range, go to the transcript, and we find the pad. and set this to 1200. It just doesn't matter that much in this lesson because you're not aiming to land at the precise position manually. Okay, and then let's set V0, and that's the 2500 line. So that's 2550. So if you go back a little bit, you can see the mark to 550. This is the velocity that this craft is estimating to have at the entry interface. If you look at the pad, the parameters, velocity, inertial start or 0 shows where the line should be aligned. For Luna entry, this is much higher. For now, you can leave it at on the line, and if desired, tweak it slightly. So next, we'll set the entry EMS 0.05G switch to up and arm the EMS. So let's set the EMS to entry and keep it in standby. Next, use verb 49 to set up an auto maneuver to the target entry interface attitude. 49. Enter. Then verb 22 plus 209.00 speed. Then 34. The initial program to prepare for entry is P61, the entry preparation program. On the CMC run verb 37, enter 61 to start with entry preparations. The first input will be the predicted latitude and longitude of the splashdown location, and the last is if the initial entry will be heads up or heads down. This controls the lift vector. The capsule has been designed to have an aerodynamic lift vector and is opposite of the direction of the head. So if the heads are pointing down, the vector points up. This vector is used to maneuver the capsule during entry, just like an airplane. Press Pro to accept the default values. Next, verb 06 noun 60 shows the prediction for entry, like the predicted g-force, velocity at the entry interface, and flight path angle between the inertial velocity and the local horizontal at the entry interface. The interface is around 400,000 feet of altitude. Press Pro to accept the values. The next screen shows the more predictions, like range should go from 0.05, the predicted velocity at 0.05 g, and the time until 0.05 g. Realistically, you can then use these values to set up the EMS. Press Pro to accept. Program 61 automatically moves or transitions to program 62, the CMS and separation and pre-entry maneuver. We're about 5 minutes late for that due to all my talking, but that's okay. Program 62 first displays verb 50 noun 25 with 41 in R1. This means please perform checklist item 41. This is the CM SM separation. You can check the SPS deorbit entry checklist section 30 for more procedures on this whenever you want. The CM RCS system needs to be enabled, as the SM RCS system will be jettisoned soon. Verify that the CM RCS logic is set to on. Yes. And then open up the propellants. CM RCS propellant 2. The CM RCS will now automatically be ready when the SM is jettisoned. Then we'll need to pressurize it, and this requires the sex and logic and things to be armed. So CM RCS press. can hit pressurize. This requires that the pyros are armed. Set the SCS control to SC control to SCS. Then we'll need to change our power source. So far in the mission, the fuel cells has been the primary source of power. Since these are located in the service module, we will lose them when we separate. The entry and post landing batteries will take over as the primary source. These are located inside the command module. To tie them to the main bus, set the main bus tie AC switch to up. Do the same for main bus tie BC, set it to up. The battery should now be powering the command module. Next, we will configure the caution warning to no thrust throw master alarm due to warning from the SM. And so we'll basically set this to from CSM to CM. You can hit the master alarm button to silence the alarm. And then we will perform the SM separation. To do that, in this game, you'll need to hit up on both of these. Realistically, you could only need one of them, but so I'll set this to free. And then you can yaw the craft. To the side, and this is enough for this lesson. And then set CM-SM switch 1 to up and then 2 to up. And now the SM module is separated and drifting away from the command module. So let's hit Pro on the computer. This activates the entry DAP and once again displays predicted landing point and gives you an opportunity to select the initial lift vector. Use the command module, use the view selected to move the view to the commander's window, and set the controls to manual and correct the attitude so you're facing heads down and the F dice showing the target. So let's go ahead and maneuver so we can see the horizon, and you can use the attitude here to get into kind of the entry interface attitude. There we go. Then it wants us to be heads down, so let's roll upside down. Okay. Hit Pro to accept the data, then set the SD con to CMC and the CMC mode to free. Free. So 63 initially displays verb 06 noun 64 showing the current drag acceleration, velocity and range to the splash. Key verb 16e to monitor this. So verb 16. Now it's going to be monitoring this velocity, and the main part that we're going to be looking at is R1. This is the detected g-force. The program will mainly keep you updated with the drag acceleration and will automatically move to program 64 at 0.05 g. The digital autopilot will maintain a stable attitude. Using orbital view, focus on the command module and use timescale until the command module passes the Earth entry interface mark. So this should be pretty close now. You can see if I focus on the CM, you can see that the entry interface is this mark here. And if you want, you can use timescale to kind of get through this part. And you can hit auto here to kind of get this to maneuver automatically, but I'm going to keep this to free because the role logic on the automatic entry interface guidance is not yet working anymore because I've made some big updates on how the GDC platform and the IMU logic works and corrected quite a lot of it. And this requires me to rewrite the entry guidance logic. So now we're just waiting for this to build up. So now I can use timescale slightly until it detects G-force. And once it detects anything at all, even outside the limit of this, you can see that timescale automatically stops. This is to avoid accidentally timescaling into the atmosphere. And entry, there's a lot of procedures involved here, and this all becomes a lot easier in lesson 9b because everything is more sequential. The aim of this lesson is to just kind of take you through these main events. So I recommend you to go through this lesson a couple of times until you kind of get through entry and kind of understand. Now we can see that it has been detected 0.05G. And Chute GDC is aligned with the IMU by pressing the GDC align. So let's go ahead and do that again, just to make sure. And then verify that these are equal. The roll pointer on the EMS will now show the correct up and down direction and is used to maneuver through the atmosphere. So now we'll need to set this to normal. And you can see that this entry EMS, entry Earth monitoring entry or entry monitoring system is active. And we'll need to make sure that we are in free. And all we need to do is to control roll as we re-enter. So now program 64 has transitions to program 67 for Earth entry. When in program 67, the roll is used to guide the capsule lift vector and towards the splashdown point. This is when the high G-force takes place. The EMS will draw a line showing the G-force and velocity. So this one is G-force 0 is on the top and it's at 9G in the bottom. And it will draw kind of a line as the G-force increases, and on the x-axis there, you can see that we have the velocity going towards 0. So we're now reduced the velocity of about 1,000 feet already. And we are in a heads-up direction. So we are now going to kind of hit the atmosphere, the air density, and there's a slight tilt. You can see that the wing of the craft is pointing tilted slightly with an angle attack. So the air goes here and then it gets pushed down, making us kind of increase our altitude or reduce our rate of descent. So now to be able to kind of get back down into the atmosphere, I will kind of just leave it at heads up slightly, and then slowly kind of roll it into a heads down attitude to kind of make this a very easy entry trajectory. If you would like to make this as easy as possible, you can just leave it in the heads up direction, and you will make it down alive. But I'm going to point the direction downwards, and you can see that the G-force now increases. And if I now roll, so the heads up display points upwards again, you will see that this line levels out. This is just to kind of show you how it all works. Now you can see that I'm leveling out, and now it's going to reduce the G-forces. You can see that the line is kind of curving down at around 8.5 G, and it goes back up. In Earth entry, there's no danger of skipping out, so you could have the lift vector pointing up for the entire entry if you would like. So the roll index needle points up, your head points down towards Earth, the lift vector points up and should reduce the G-load. Roll so the needle points up. So this is just for beginners, leave it pointing up so you cannot skip the atmosphere or Earth entry, and try to roll a maximum of 90 degrees to the left-right and learn how it works. In lunar entry, you can and will skip if you only keep the lift vector pointing up. So set the SC count to SES as soon as the entry guidance is complete. Program 67 displays verb 16 noun 67. So then I'm going to switch to SES. So now you could check the landing checklist on the mission pad if you would like. You can see the Earth landing phase here. The Chute will soon deploy. So let's just wait for our altitude. And this is completely normal that this flight, this is 4,000 feet per second. It will continue to reduce, so it's all normal that it goes beyond this line here. And for this lesson, or any entry at all, you don't really need to care about getting this to 0. But if you get this to 0, there will be extra points for landing close to the planned landing location. So you can see that our altitude is reducing, and the ELS is armed. You can hit. You can see that I'm now falling down towards the ocean. The ELS is connected. You have the logic on and auto. So everything will be automatic when it comes to the chutes. And there we go, the drogue is out. And you can always manually deploy things here, provided that the Earth landing system is armed. The drogue chute is deployed. And now we are awaiting main deploy. And there is a lot of more procedures going on right now in the Earth landing phase, but for now it's all about just getting the ELS armed and getting the chutes out. You don't need to worry about all the other things. This is going to be covered in the next lesson. And as mentioned, the next lesson, once you have this good overview of all the main steps for entry, the next lesson will be much simpler because it just follows and executes all the steps in a timeline, and that timeline is very kind of stable or defined as you get through the Earth entry and flies through the atmosphere and splash down. The procedures are very sequential. You just need to execute along with the digital event timer that you set up for the SMCSM or the SMCM separation. You can turn these off if you want to. That's also part of the entry. Okay, main chute is out. Check those. Okay, good job today. There was a lot in this lesson, but this demanding phase. Please know that we skip many important steps and setup. The end of the exam will be similar to this, but you will follow the mission pad checklist. But fear not, it's easier to follow the steps in the checklist compared to the Chute Academy lesson. And this is very true. So this concludes the tutorial. Feel free to watch it splashdown as well. And I'm going to give you that joy when you execute this lesson yourself. I am also going to record lesson 9b in a separate video, so you can see the more realistic execution of entry. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.